Evidence. Tonight, see what truly exists inside the world of the paranormal. Inside. Join the discussion and review some of the best paranormal evidence captures from a wide variety of experienced and up-and-coming investigators. See and hear what they capture, where they captured it, and how they captured it. Right now on Entity Voices Paranormal Evidence.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Entity Voices Paranormal Evidence. I'm Chris.
I'm Tony.
I'm Cherie.
I am Lourdes.
And I'm, God, can I say it? I'm Ron. Fine, I'll say it. It's so hard. By the time it gets to me, it sounds like we're all saying the names for the first times ourselves.
Especially when it's your turn.
I bet our audience is so tired of hearing this every Monday.
Yeah.
Just in case some of you out there have dementia, we remind you every week.
Yes.
There you go.
Yeah.
Oh,
Everybody have a good
boy.
weekend?
Yeah.
It was a good weekend. I was feeling a little down, but it was a good weekend.
Yeah, we went to my friend's, my high school buddy. We went to his house. His daughter's totally into this stuff. So we did a little Staticom at the house. They were able to make contact with her grandfather. They got a couple of specific things. It was actually quite cool to be able to share that in a personal setting. And then Saturday we had a big event at Strauss Mansion with Seekers Club, Full Moon, New Jersey Paranormal Project, people from Parasite, Jenny Colucci. It was awesome. She didn't feel well, so she sat that one out. You guys know we run around, most of us, like almost every weekend. So she sat that one out, and then Sunday we literally just kind of sat around and just took it easy. We were both wiped, I think. So
Yeah.
So
It was a good weekend. Yeah.
it was
that's
good.
Michelle right there. Here we go. Fantastic show. That's Rich.
Oh, yes, we are.
Yeah,
Mhm.
we're always missing our Audra.
Yeah. She'll be back next week, hopefully.
Yep. Audrey
So-
is dealing with
There she is.
had a tragedy in her family, so she won't be here tonight.
No. Our thoughts are with her. We miss her.
Yes, we do.
Love her dearly. Yep.
Mhm.
Jenny Colucci showed up. Jenny is so if you ever get the chance to work with her, all Team Parasite, but she's awesome. She's just so positive. Like everybody enjoys working with her. She's a great investigator, brilliant lady, and just
Good
really, really
person.
fun to work with.
Mhm.
Real neat lady. Yep.
Yeah. So that was our weekend.
Audra and I had a really neat experience. Scott with PPIT invited us up to a private that he's was doing. They got some really good evidence. They've got the family captured, been experiencing some paranormal activity in their house, and the family captured a really great apparition on camera.
Wow.
Security cameras. It's a really awesome video. I think I've sent it to you guys to look at. So we went up to that one, and it was a pretty good investigation. We Audra and I picked up a ton of stuff right before we all met for dinner before, and we picked up a ton of stuff at the dinner and actually got everything that we were reading confirmed when we showed up by the homeowner, which was pretty intense. And then
That's very intense.
yeah. And there's one of Scott's buddies. Scott's team is phenomenal, man. The way they handle homeowners' cases is just phenomenal. I'm really impressed with PPIT and the way they handle privates. And but he also invited a buddy of his named Ash, who works up in that area in law enforcement, and he's starting a new thing that he'll be coming out with soon. That he documents private home investigations, interviews the family, gets their side of it as far as the paranormal portion of it, and then he documented a lot of the stuff that we were doing during the investigation. So that'll be really neat when he gets that produced and gets that out. So it was
cool.
a pretty good investigation. We ended up cleansing the house, and hopefully we get some good feedback from the family once they've got a few days or months left. So it was pretty cool.
That's awesome, Chris.
It is. And Dos Rathmans?
Well, let's see.
We have a rough.
Yeah, it was.
I got sick.
Yeah,
sick
Sri
for
wasn't
really
feeling
bad.
good like Wednesday to almost
Tuesday.
Saturday or Tuesday. Yeah,
Yeah,
Tuesday.
started Tuesday.
So she recouped, but we got invited to some upcoming Paracons, so we worked through that. We were actually trying to plan a vacation, which got changed on us, then changed again. Then we tried to change it, and then we started talking to Ron and Lourdes, and they're like, "Hey, come on out here." We're like, "All right." So we started looking into that, and it's about an even plane switch from where we were going to you guys. So kind of a no-brainer. So we'll talk more about that.
Cool. Very cool.
That would be good.
That would be exciting.
Yeah.
6-mansion tour.
Yeah.
We told them already.
No.
We already said not even 4. 2, maybe one or 2.
Right.
That's
right.
it.
6-mansion tour.
No more. But before we bring our guests, let's all thank all the people that watch the documentary.
Very nice. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And if you're not aware of it, it is on Paraflix.
Yes.
It's a 3-part docuseries, basically talking about direct radio voice, which then we turned into Staticom, and all of the research Ron and Lourdes did, and then what was done to it after Cherie and I joined their program, and it's a very informative.
Yeah, what's wrong with Paranormal Scouts? He hasn't seen the documentary yet.
Uh-oh.
What the
Plenty of
heck?
time.
Block them. I'm kidding. I'm teasing.
Paranormal Scouts.
Boot
if
his
you
ass
have-
from the show. What the heck?
If you haven't subscribed to Paraflix, just make sure you use Staticom 25 to get 25% on the annual. If you haven't done so already.
And that's still available, right?
Oh yeah,
Or still-
it's ongoing.
That'll stay available. They have a lot of good stuff. You know, if we're able to show maybe one of the trailers at the end of the show, if you have them, pop one up if you can do it. Just it might be good for us to do it at the end, just to keep people, I guess, aware. It is something that we're proud of. You know, we were in direct radio voice for a while. Tony and Cherie got on board, and holy cow, did things take off. And I'll say it every time it comes up. He did a fantastic job editing the episodes. We actually showed the trailers at the event we did at Strauss Mansion for everybody there, because we're incredibly proud of what we did, and hopefully the feedback is equally good. I actually got I'll tell Tony, I'll talk to you off line, but I got someone that we know sent me a message and congratulated me on it. Someone that you know better than I know, but that I know that you know that we know, you know.
I know, and she knows, and we know, and I think I know. So it's all good.
He's right there.
So it's all good.
It's all
I see
good.
what you
Yeah,
did,
right. It's all good.
Look at that, Christoph.
Unfortunately, nobody participate on the
contest.
The
We went-
contest, a
we
shirt.
went- put out that whole contest. Not a single response.
So
Not a-
For me, I
So, yeah,
the team,
the team
are
will
going
be-
to get
The
it.
team will be winning what was 5, which is now 6.
Yeah.
Knowingly talking to the unknown T-shirt. So
Nice.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
Sorry to our audience, but
That is awesome. So yeah, we're looking forward to the message and the work that we put in getting out there. Yeah, Tony did a bang up job on the editing. It's really nicely put together. So give it a look. See, Ron from ERRT watched all of them. Roger, what contest?
Okay, you got to tell him.
Yeah,
it was
tell
on the release weekend.
What contest?
Yeah, it
missed
was
the
on the
contest.
release weekend, but yeah, I
Everybody
actually
missed
saw, which absolutely just floored me. But I Googled today and I saw a write-up on EVPI Productions, and I was like, "What?"
Really?
I don't know where it came from, but the funny part was that whatever movie was shown underneath it Wasn't me. I don't know. I don't know how that got put up, who posted it, or what the connection was, but.
Oh, wow.
So people are asking, I'll just tell you real quick. The contest is that Tony tried to contact a family member. You need to identify who the family member is, what's the relation, and the name. And if you get to both of those things, you win a t-shirt. So that's it.
It's in the docuseries.
Yeah.
Yes.
You got to watch the docuseries.
You have to watch the docuseries to get the answer.
Yeah.
If you thought it was that easy, folks, it's not that easy.
I don't know. The contest is still ongoing, though.
Yeah,
Is it? Is it done?
it's
Yeah,
done.
Well, it was
That's
kind of
first.
it was kind of the opening week of it.
Yes.
If I run it forever, we'll be constantly making t-shirts.
T-shirts.
Yeah.
Well, I thought it was just the first 5. But I'm sorry, guys. Then I take that back.
But thanks for playing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And thanks to Natalie Jones and
Patty
Negri.
Negri.
All of Paraflex, Patty
Yes.
Negri, yep.
Yep. Great service. They do a great job promoting all their shows. Speaking of promoting, tonight's guest, not only a great guest, and we've been looking forward to this show, but we had a chance, as did anybody, to hang out or talk to him at the Gettysburg Battlefield Bash not that long ago. And that, to me, is always a tell for how someone behaves in the community as well as with just the general public. Because when you see them interact with the other people there, and he's really one of the nicest people in the field. He's been doing this for a while. He does a great job. So this will definitely be a show. If you're already watching now, put on your seatbelt. Don't go anywhere.
Yep, don't go anywhere. Guys, we've had him on before, but he is definitely worth bringing back. Everybody say hello and welcome to John Curley of the Harrisburg Area Paranormal Society, which is also a part of the family of TAPS. Hey, John.
There he is.
Hello, John.
Hey, what's going on, gentlemen,
Welcome.
ladies, everybody in the chat room? How's everybody doing?
Good. How about you?
Good.
Awesome.
Doing well.
Another day in the life. You know?
That's right.
Well, John,
Thank
it's
you,
been a
John.
while since you've been on, so why don't you tell our audience a little bit what got you hooked on the paranormal?
Actually, what got me hooked was seeing a UFO when I was a kid. It was kind of weird, seeing a UFO, but then getting into paranormal things is kind of on the same length, level
Yeah.
of paranormal. You see something that wasn't normal, and I seen it. So, I was only like 15 years old. I'm 50 now, so it was a long time ago. But I've only seen it one time, but it was a life-changing thing for me.
Yeah.
You see
imagine.
something that's not from this world. You see it, and you're just like, "There's no way what I just seen is from here, not even
Right.
close." And it
Yeah.
kind of got me into watching the shows and Amityville Horror and the Entity with Dr. Barry Taft's case, and I used to watch the hell out of In Search of with Leonard Nimoy when I was a kid. I loved that show, and that kind of really guided me to where I wanted to be with paranormal things, and kind of led me into just I got married, and then I moved out of Baltimore. I'm from Baltimore, Maryland, and I moved to Pennsylvania. I wanted to get near Gettysburg because I was so fascinated with Gettysburg and the history of Gettysburg and the hauntings. And I moved like 25 minutes, 30 minutes from Gettysburg. So that was my kind of early years in the stomping grounds of the paranormal, was in Gettysburg and doing paranormal things in Gettysburg.
I got a question for you, because this just hit me now, that we've heard over several shows, probably, right? And I think the team will agree, over several years, a lot of the answers that you gave during that, In Search of, sightings, right? A lot of those shows steered a lot of us towards what we're doing. Do you think that they had any idea how influential putting something so fringe at that time would be later on? Do you think they had any idea it was going to turn into all of us sitting here going, "Hey, I watched this, I watched that, and now I'm hunting ghosts"?
Nope, I don't think they did. I think it was kind of, talking about this stuff back then was really taboo. Nobody really talked about ghosts. Like, you might hear your family members talking about it sitting at the table, at a family thing or something. But other than that, nobody really talked about their house being haunted
No,
Things
and there were
that.
no.
You might see a show, you know.
Yeah,
You've seen it on like In Search Of, or back then it was like That's Incredible and things
Yeah.
like that. You know, you didn't see, nobody talked about paranormal things or houses being haunted. You know,
that was as close as you could get back then. In Search Of, and then you could flip over to the fictional side and watch things like what was that? The name just eluded me. I had it in my head. The Twilight Zone. That was kind of your range of shows to get on the paranormal side, and it wasn't much beyond that.
Yeah, I don't think they had any idea the influence that had on young people like ourselves, and it guided us to that. I think it was like the beginning of everything. I mean, you had the Warrens out there doing their thing, but they weren't really publicized back then. That kind of stuff was.
Right.
You might have seen them on TV once in a great while back then, and I didn't even know about them until, God, the 90s or something like that, like the late 90s. I've heard of them. Who are these people, and then Ghost Hunters popped on the scene, in the 2000s, and just like after that, the paranormal thing just exploded.
Yeah, I love that, and I think the difference that's the dichotomy to me that's amazing is that today's society is filled with people who go by the title influencer, but in our time growing up, the influencers weren't doing it to be influencers. They were doing it because they were trying to break ground. They were trying to put out entertainment that was not, flooding the airways. It was something different, had a little niche, market to it. And so it's fascinating to me that the people who were so impactful were not trying to be influencers. I mean, where we have a society today now where everybody's an influencer. Look, I'm wearing a gray shirt. Gray shirts all week.
Yeah, right.
You can tell I'm not an influencer, but that's my point.
Yeah, it's just amazing how far it's come from then to now. It's just an amazing thing because no one talked about ghosts or anything like that. It's totally taboo, or sitting around the table drinking coffee or something. That you might hear your parents talk about they lived in a haunted house or something like that. And I used to hear my parents talk about it all the time, that my grandfather's house was haunted, and there was an eerie feeling on the second floor of the house, and I experienced it. My cousins experienced it. When you go to the end of the hall, my grandfather had a really long hallway that went to his bathroom on the second floor, and it was an old house. And you would have to go down that long hallway to use the bathroom. But when you came out of the bathroom, every time you walked toward the end, it just felt like there was a room off to the left of it. It just felt like someone was standing there watching you. And it was a really weird feeling. We used to run down the hallway, and just get down the stairs as quick as we could when we were kids, just that overwhelming feeling that someone was there. And it was not till years later, till I was, I don't know, I was like 19 or 20, we were talking about my grandfather's house, and my grandfather had passed. And I just told my mother, I was like, I think that house was definitely haunted. She was, oh, yeah, it was definitely haunted. My mother was haunted because my grandmother passed before I was born. So my grandmother died at like 45 years old. She was really young. And my mother said, yeah, what you're feeling is probably my mother. She said, because 2 weeks after my mother died, I went to that, used to the bathroom, and I came out. And when I got to the end of the hall, I felt like there was somebody standing there. And when I turned around, my mother was standing there, and she had been passed away for 2 weeks. She said she was looked at me with this kind of concerned look. Then I kind of like squinted my eyes a little bit, and I looked, and then she was gone. Like she was there for that brief second, and then she was gone. And we all felt that same experience,
Wow. That's profound. That triggers that fight or flight thing where, you could have been frightful the rest of your life of this stuff, or you could have become John Curley, HAPS.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And we're glad you went the way you did. It's funny how we wouldn't talk about stuff like we'd even be in denial. Like I have in my second book, ITC Technomancy. I remember my father's a drummer. He would be on the road a lot of times playing gigs. You saw on weekends or something. And 3-floor house. He had mostly soundproofed the bottom floor where the drums were, so he could play without annoying the neighborhood. And I remember my sister and I being in our bedrooms upstairs. My mom was downstairs watching TV and hearing somebody playing the drums. And I know it wasn't her, but at the time, I think I kind of just went, oh, no, that couldn't be. No, I kind of just like let it go. But I wrote about it in the book because later on, I realized that was probably a product of the time where I was just dismissing myself and just kind of out of maybe a level of fear going, no, I can't possibly, because it wasn't ongoing, but I did hear stuff. And I'm like, wait a minute. But now I look back at that and go, I probably did experience something.
Mm-hmm. It's like me as a child, my family practiced espiritismo, which is a form of mediumship in Puerto Rico. But we were taught, you don't talk about it. You don't talk about it in school. You don't talk about it outside of the family. That's it. That was the rule. And that's the way it was.
How long did it take you to disclose that story of seeing your mom, John? To anybody?
Oh, my mother, my grandmother. It was a lot of years until I was an adult. I was almost an adult. I was about 20 years old. You know, it was definitely haunted. The place was, and my father came forward and said, yeah, the place was haunted. He said, I spent the night there one night when your mom, when she was pregnant with you, and my parents were teenage parents. You know what I mean? Back then they were teenage parents. My father was 18. My mother was 17. So, he said he was sleeping. And my grandfather had these big sailboats. They were made out of like tin. They were pretty big. They were really cool looking. And they sat on a counter. And it was just one big one. And my father said he was sleeping there and laying on the floor. My mother was on the couch. And he heard something moving. And he said he looked up, and that sailboat was sliding down the dresser real slow. He said, I'm watching it. He said, and it gets all the way to the end, and it turns. And he said, when it turned, he said, I jumped up. He said, I got to go, baby. And I left. He said, I left your mother there. He said, he left. He said, I'm gone.
Bye.
If you don't beat me to the car, you're staying.
Yeah, he said, I'll tell you what. He said, I wasn't sticking around to see that son bitch go to the other side. I'll tell you that.
Wow, what a cool story.
Yeah, he was gone.
That's funny.
Wow. So it looked like, before we get to your evidence, it looked like Karen in the chat was selling out there, saying that you have abilities. So is that the case? Here you go, right there. And then how much is that a part of? Because I know you're also technically educated. You know, you have good equipment. You know how to use it. How integrated is your ability and your tech?
I don't think everybody has it. I think everybody has this certain intuition, you know, and once you get into the paranormal field, these things kind of open up. You know, I never used to believe that, but there's so many cases that I've been on since I started that I hear my name called in investigations, you know, or you get this really weird feeling, you know, you go into a place and it seems normal, but then it doesn't feel normal. Like whatever these things are, these spirits, these entities, they can change the atmosphere around you, which then creates the goosebump feeling. The hair stands up on your arms. You know, you get goosebumpy, spider web, cobweb feelings and stuff like that. These are all paranormal events, and a lot of people, you know, mistake them for something else. But what your experience is paranormal. So, do I have an ability? I don't know if I do or I don't. I know I experience a lot of things in paranormal investigations. I hear a lot of things, and people in my group will tell you, you know, I'll be in investigations and I always stay plugged in, because if I'm walking through a place and I hear something, I stop right there because I know that there's something there. You know, if I hear walking down here, get out, you know, and I'll say, did you hear get out? And they're like, no, I didn't hear anything. I'm like, yeah, I caught it. And when we go back in the recordings, you're like, dude, see, I told you I heard it. And he's like, yeah, you definitely heard it. And that's just how I kind of walk through a place that I know that these areas are going to be active. I'll hear something and I'll be like, I just heard a voice, or, you know, and they'll say, what? I'm like, yeah, they don't hear it, but I hear it. And what's weird is I lost all the hearing in my left ear when I was a kid. So I can't hear anything out of my left ear, but all the hearing. So I think that's a gift for me somehow, because when I'm listening to audio, like I can't hear anything out of my left ear, but it feels like I can hear out of both ears. It's really strange.
Wow.
Really strange. Yeah. Like I'm listening right now and it sounds like I can hear out of both ears and I really can't. It's really weird. You can only hear out of my right ear.
So answer this, John. I have the same issue. I have hearing loss in my left ear because somebody decided to blow up a locker in high school, and I just happened to be walking by when it exploded. When you're sitting in a crowded room that's really loud, all that noise coming in one side, ever get you to the point where you got to get up and walk out?
Yeah. You get a headache or something like that. You know, you're just like, man, what the hell? Or just if you're somewhere and somebody's talking to your left side and you got a lot of noise in your right ear, you can't hear anything in your left ear.
Yep.
You know, somebody could be talking to you, I mean, loud, and you won't even hear it.
Yep.
And you'll just hear everything from the right. Yeah.
Understand.
But you know who never? It's weird. You know, to me.
You know who never hears their name talked or said by spirits ever? Tony Rathman. Never hears it.
Never happened.
Really?
Never.
No.
They say it all the time.
It's unavoidable.
They say it all the time.
Direct radio and Staticom, it's unavoidable.
Whatever method you use.
We heard it. She wasn't with me. We heard it Saturday night. I think Anthony heard it. And then I asked him to repeat it. And I don't know if they did. Yeah. Wow. It's unavoidable.
Well, I think that was.
But yeah. Oh, sorry. Okay.
I was going to say, I think that was years of training because, like I said, Cherie said, introduce yourself. And it's just from 13 and a half years of doing that. And, but yeah, we noticed that probably 3 or 4 years into even on EVP, all of a sudden they were calling us by our first names or our last name or both. And once they know your name, we could go to a location we've never even been to before, and they would still call us by name. So that universal knowledge is passed through whatever channels that goes through. But we would walk into locations we had never stepped foot in, and they'd be like, hey, the Rathmans.
Yeah, I think so. I think they probably know that we would know it, and that's why they say it to us, too.
Yeah.
Correct. I think so, too.
So.
All right. Who wants to see some of John's evidence?
Yeah, that's what we're here for.
All right, John. So the first one I got coming up is the Commandant's Building female. It's so long it got cut off. Female says something. Oh, female scream. That's the one. That's the female
scream. Yeah, screaming lady at Fort Mifflin. Yep.
Okay. Oh, cool.
Everybody, turn your volume up. It's in the background. It is definitely there. It be Staticom or not Staticom. Sorry, guys. Staticom is loud and clear. Now on the other side, StreamYard's not always. So.
Real quick, because I think Nicole, who was with Full Moon Paranormal, who was also with us Saturday, and they are an amazing team. These ladies are awesome. I think she's speaking about Anthony Rathman coming through Saturday, if I'm not mistaken, when she said it came through so clearly on Staticom. So that's the guy. That's the guy to blame, Nicole. They're the charming guy with the collar and the power amulet. That's the guy.
That's right.
He's the reason. All right, go ahead.
Here's that female scream, guys. Here we go.
Here comes the plane. What the fuck was that?
That was a scream, dude.
Fuck yeah, it was. Who's screaming? Don't tell me Diane's screaming again.
That was a scream.
Yeah, it was. Female at that.
Wow. Yeah, you could hear it. And for people who don't know, right, that they're not far from the airport in Philadelphia, Fort Mifflin. So we've heard that from other people that when you do EVPs and stuff, you may every so often catch a 747.
Oh yeah, they come in there like they're coming in hot.
And the last time I checked, a 747 doesn't sound like a female screaming.
Nope.
No,
it was loud. It seemed like it was louder when it first happened. Than the recording, because we were inside of the Citadel in the middle of the Fort Mifflin, and it sounded like she was like this woman was screaming right outside of the doorway where we were at, and I'm like, that was definitely a woman.
Yeah.
And we thought it was two of our female investigators that were there. So we went and we tracked them down because there was a big deer running around in the fort, and we thought maybe they ran into this big deer and screamed. So we tracked them down and we're like, hey, did you guys scream? And they're like, no. And we only had 2 female investigators with us, and they're like, no, we didn't scream. I was like, did you hear a scream? And they're like, no. And I'm like, dude, that was cool. Like, we definitely
That's pretty
saw
cool.
a screaming lady.
Heard that.
It's a disembodied scream. Like you can hear it.
Oh yeah, you
It
can
was,
clearly
yeah, it
hear
was
it.
loud.
You can differentiate the human scream or
From the plane noise.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Well,
Yeah, that's fascinating to me that anybody heard it in the moment. And Tony, that I was going to ask you. It sounds like to me this would be my guess. The fact that they heard it.
I know where you're going. I know where you're going. And I think you're right.
I think because you could hear the compression of the sound from the Doppler effect, and as it trailed off, the sound was no longer loud enough to obfuscate the voice coming through. As it diminished in amplitude, boom, there's the audio support for the scream, and holy cow, you can hear it.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
Yeah, the overflying jet created a white noise background, and your static to noise ratio as the plane passed by gave the foundation for the scream to be physically heard. And by the reaction, they heard it. I mean, it wasn't that it just showed up on the recording. They heard it. You can hear them react to it. That background white noise from the plane going over gave that its basis element to be physically heard with your ears.
And it didn't start when the plane got quieter. It was already in motion. So that's why I think is that gave it audio support. You have the compression of the sound from the Doppler effect. When that loosened up and it got less loud, you could all of a sudden, it was like opening up the veil to here's this scream, which is already ongoing. The fact that you heard it, holy cow.
And the fact is that the scream may have been going on longer than what you heard it. But when the noise ratio dropped to a level that became a background, and then the vibrations or signal of the scream could rise above or be beholden by that background noise, that signal to noise ratio, like you said, became where the signal became louder than the background noise and became audible.
Yeah, it came above 20 hertz where the human hearing could hear it.
There you go. It was you got it at the perfect time, like right when the sound from the plane stopped eclipsing or obfuscating that sound, and it started to become supported, and then the diminishing sound as the plane trailed off. Boom! That was just a perfect storm to catch an anomalous voice. But again, more impressive to me than the fact that you got it is the fact that anybody heard it. That's amazing.
Right. Yeah.
And again,
we all heard it out loud.
Sorry,
I'll play it again.
Yeah, I think the drop off of the background sound is what allowed them to physically hear it. Right. That signal to noise ratio, just like Staticom, allowed that to occur, and that's why they all reacted.
Yeah,
we'll Curley coming out of the group with killer evidence first thing.
Yeah. And we'll play it again. The most intriguing, for the layman's terms, you can hear the plane, and you can tell that the voice comes from a different hertz. You can tell it's completely different. It's not in the same realm. So let's go ahead and play that again.
Here comes the plane. What the fuck was that?
That was a scream, dude.
Fuck yeah, it was. Who's screaming? Don't tell me Diane's screaming again.
That was a scream.
Yeah, it was. Female at that.
And then it's
I guess the next question we all have is, did Diane forgive you for accusing her?
Yeah, she did.
Okay, good. That's
the best
important.
part is you hear the most commonly used phrase in all paranormal investigations in that.
Oh yeah.
What the fuck was that?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's the real deal right there.
That's awesome.
That's really cool.
Yeah, that was great.
I'm gonna tell you right now, guys, you're not gonna be disappointed in any of the evidence that John sent to me. So
Yeah, we've been lucky. You know, I call it lucky, or you know, I don't know. It's like some people are in tune with this stuff, and when you're the right person is in the right place, this phenomena happens. You know what I mean? And we've just been lucky enough to get it. You know, I've been fortunate in the years of investigating to experience some of the phenomena that I never thought that I would experience in my life. And I just can't believe I've captured some of it, you know?
Yeah.
You know what's cool too is that I know about the plane noise there. We've never actually done Fort Mifflin, even though we don't live that far. We haven't done it, but I've heard as a complaint the frequency of planes flying overhead during your investigation. But you, my friend, turned it into a positive.
Yeah. I mean, I like them. I like. Well, I always believe that EVPs, you can are generated by ambient noises and stuff, reverberant noises, like just going, moving your hands on a microphone or your jacket. They can create voice phenomena. And now I'm even doing things with hydrophones with water. I'm testing a hydrophone with water to see because sounds travel in water way better than airwaves. They travel further and faster. So
that's
I'm
correct.
using a hydrophone to try to see if we can get more voices through this hydrophone through water. So because we had an investigation with a house that had a stream running through it in the basement, a live stream, a spring, and we heard so many disembodied voices through this ambient water noise that we couldn't explain it, and I'm like, that's not water, they're voices. They are disembodied voices we're hearing, and the water is transferring the noise to make it happen. It's this generation of this power from the sound. It's just the basement's really active, and it's a case that it's ongoing with us. We can go back whenever we want, which is great because it's great research.
Yeah, see, this is why pooling the information and having these conversations are important, because one of the best EVP saturated clips I've ever seen was Tony and Cherie's clip, and I forget, was that San Carlos with the water?
Oh, yeah.
No, that was in the Philippines.
That was the Diplomat Hotel and
the Diplomat Hotel. Water present. It was it coming down? There was water on the floor. There are so many EVPs in that thing. It's the same thing you're talking about through the audio support of the water. Holy cow! Clip
we could hear it with our own ears too. We could hear them speaking.
Well, we had the same experience at the Phelps Dodge Mining Hospital that night that hellacious storm come through.
You're absolutely right.
The roof had holes in it, and water was running down the walls on the second floor. And literally, we had our blooper show a few weeks back where Tony showed a clip where it says Chris is not holding an EMF detector. We were literally on the second floor, and the ambient noise from the water was coming down. We thought there were people running on the first floor screaming, to the point where I went, guys, stay here. I drew my EMF detector and cleared the building. We literally thought there were people in the building. It sounded like guys running on the first floor. It was insane.
We thought for sure somebody had broken in because it was that loud and it was that apparent. I didn't even think it was paranormal.
No,
I thought for sure it was people broke in.
Yep.
Wow.
All right. So the next clip we got for John is "We Hear a Disembodied Voice." This is the one when you guys were in the kitchen of the private home.
Yeah, that's one camera. Yeah, that's a female voice. Yeah.
Yep. So here we go.
That's a good one. Sing. Yeah. All right. Second floor. Yeah, I'll turn that off. Okay. So that way we don't get any noise. Just like a woman says something. But I'll leave it on. Sure, woman did it. I'll leave it on, but I'll turn the volume. Did you hear that? I heard it like a woman. Yeah. What's up? Oh my God. It sounded like you said turn the TV off like a woman. I swear to God. No, I said I'll turn the TV volume down. That sounds like a woman. I said I'll leave the TV on, but I'll turn the TV volume down. I heard something. That's right.
Wow.
That's pretty cool too, because the gentleman
it's right in the beginning
turned his head toward where he heard the voice come from, like immediately.
Yep. Right.
Yeah. The guy that said he was turning the TV off, he says it after the woman says it. It says, turn the TV off. And then he's like, I'm going to turn the TV off. And it's like literally right before he says he's going to turn the TV off. and it's a disembodied voice, you know, and we caught it on the camera and in our handheld recorders as well.
Wow.
Cool.
That's really cool.
John's got a couple clips on here, guys. You're going to see it's really cool. You can tell that his cameras are set up for motion detection. And so the camera moving you see is not somebody holding the camera. It's when it sees motion, it moves. So just to answer any of those questions, if anybody asks what the hell's going on, that's John's setup. It's pretty cool, I think.
Yeah, it locks onto moving targets.
Yeah.
It follows.
Could put something on there and put it outside in your yard in case somebody tries to break in.
Wow.
Yeah. All right, so the next one we got is Henry. So here we go.
Tell us your name.
We'll play that one again. You got to turn up. StreamYard killed it. Yeah, StreamYard killed that one again. I'm glad it didn't kill the screen, but that's there. I heard it. So let's play it.
Tell us your name.
Oh yeah,
it's there.
Yeah, it's there. It's low, but it's there.
You can hear the beginning and the end of it. It's just the middle is light for some reason.
Yeah, it's just
probably StreamYard.
Yeah, I can tell you when that was an audio clip that John sent me that I turned into the video. So it's loud. It's there. I heard it. I'm the one that put the scrolling Henry on there, so you guys know that. It's for some reason sometimes when we do that, StreamYard kills it.
Because it has to be an MP4, right?
Yeah.
Is the compression on the audio of an MP4 comparable to what an MP3 does?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if it was originally a WAV file, if it was originally a WAV and went to MP3 or MP4, it's a lost format. It means it condenses it. You lose the dynamics of it. So you're absolutely right, Ron.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, I figured that's what it was.
Yeah, it was an MP3 originally. That's what all the task cams I use recording MP3.
So let's see something here.
Yeah, I have a couple of Tascams, and I was recording in WAV form for a while, but they were filling up cards like crazy.
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh, this card used to last way longer."
Yeah,
not anymore.
Let's do it this way.
You should see it when Cherie records video in 8K. Oh my god!
Wow!
Oh, good Lord!
It's ridiculous.
Let's try it this way. Let's play it again. Here we go.
She gets all the good moments.
All right, here we go.
Tell us your name.
Or maybe now we can hear it.
Yeah, a little bit better.
Yeah, you can hear a little bit more there.
Yep.
All right, there we go.
Yeah, a little bit better.
Cool catch.
Yeah.
Does the name Henry have anything to do with the location you caught it in, or?
Yeah. Actually, the little kids in the house. This was a case we did recently up in Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania. The little kids were seeing a little boy in their room. It was an 8-year-old and a 4-year-old, and the 4-year-old was seeing a little boy. She had a little kitchen set up in her bedroom, and the little boy would play with the kitchen stuff. And she would wake up and he would be over there playing with it. And she said his name was Henry. And sure enough, I said, "What's your name?" And it captures a little boy saying Henry. It says Henry. I'm like, wow. We had a lot of cool intelligent stuff in that house that I could have sent. I caught like 75 EVPs out of this house. And probably maybe 10 of them were disembodied voices that we heard out loud. Most I've ever caught in a location. It was unbelievable. And all intelligently answering things. And which was weird was I had the task cam. I was doing, live EVP, and all of a sudden I'm standing at the bottom of the bed where the little girl sees this man, this figure, and I get this huge amount of static in this white noise, like shh, like interference, and all of a sudden I hear a voice within that static, and it says like help me. It's like help me within the static, and all of a sudden it felt like this hand went up my arm real light, and all the hair stood up on my arm. It got cold, like not real cold, but it was a definitely difference in the atmosphere, changing the atmosphere of this staticky charge. And I said, wow, I said, you're really impressed with me. And I called it I didn't hear it, but I called it EVP saying, thank you. It was very cool.
Oh, nice.
It was total confirmation of what I experienced.
That's another thing. This show has been amazing for this. And at first with the water, now with this showing trends when people pull their information together and have these conversations. That was one of the things I noticed over time from when I started. The first recorder I had was that Panasonic DR05. And I would hear sometimes before an EVP, and even when we started doing direct radio voice at first too, I would hear like a static, crinkly overwhelm, like somebody was rubbing like foil paper or some kind of parchment paper over the microphone before I would get a vocal.
Mm-hmm. Even with the Tascam too, that would happen to
That's
you.
exactly what I'm talking about.
Oh, okay,
Tascam.
okay, yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. What's the Tascam?
That happened. Yeah, that happened to us for about 4 years with Cherie's cell phone. I didn't even have to look at the wave to tell you where an EVP was coming. The second I heard that, I could block the audio wave. Second I heard that static, I knew it was coming right behind it, and every single time.
Yeah, it's amazing.
That is amazing. Mm-hmm.
That Tascam seems to do that though, because you're not the only person I've heard say that, and I had gone through that too. And when I first experienced it, I hadn't heard anybody else saying it, and then more and more people like yourself started saying, "Yeah, the static before," and I was like, that's interesting.
It is interesting, especially because of the static-com and the white noise that we think the voices are.
Oh, that's all. So that's all hooey stuff. That's static-com stuff. Don't listen to that. It's all about T-shirts and merchandise. It has nothing to do with it.
Voices and white noise. Come on.
Yeah, right.
Never happens.
That's fascinating. That really is.
That is fascinating.
That's cool.
All right, so let's jump to a couple pics that you sent in, John. We'll start with the first one. Teenage boy scratched by dark entity.
Oh,
we can talk with these up. So,
whoa,
tell us about this.
Oh yeah. That was the case when I first started back in 2000. I think it was 5 or 6, I think. This was a teenage kid. He was a high school kid, and he was living with his grandmother. And one morning he woke up and he had felt this pain on his chest, and he said he was actually bleeding. And he woke up and there was this dark figure in the room, and he said he screamed and it kind of like went into a corner and just disappeared. But he was getting attacked on a regular basis, and but we never got a chance to investigate. I did get to interview him and on some of his phenomena that he was experiencing, but we never got to investigate the case because the grandmother was real Catholic, and she said, these things are demons and they're this, and she just wasn't having it. We weren't coming in. It just wasn't going to happen.
Yeah.
And I think he wound up moving out of his grandmother's house and going back to his mother and father's house.
Hell, I would have.
Yeah.
I mean, they're pretty extreme scratches. I'm looking at him, I'm like, wow. And when he pulls his shirt up, I'm like, whoa, dude. I'm like, that's pretty intense. And he goes, yeah, it was actually bleeding.
Well, they're also in sets of 3.
Yes.
Yeah, and this picture was taken about a week after it happened.
Wow.
That's intense.
Yeah. That is intense.
I want to point something out too from a forensic standpoint too. So if this would have been done with an inanimate object won't leave us. It'll leave a consistent straight trail. So if you look at the top scratches, that one to the far right, maybe in the audience at your left, it follows the contour of his body. So when fingers or claws from an animal go down somebody's body or a carcass or something, it will move with the contour of the body. And if you notice, you got the 2 straight ones, well, kind of straight ones, and then that third one over towards the center of his sternum. It moves consistent with his muscle formations there in his chest, which means that more than likely was a physical hand or a physical, some kind of a paw or something, because it moves with the contour of his body. When it hits bone or hard muscle, it'll move away. A finger will move away. If it was like, if you used some kind of utensil with 3 rake marks, it would have been consistent. They all would have been consistently straight.
That's a good point, Chris.
Yeah. And the same with the one down at the bottom. If you look at the one down at the bottom, See that center one, how it curves out? I'll bet you when that kid flexes his gut, that's the contour of his muscles, if you look. And then the one over towards his hip side, you can see where it hit that line in his belly and moved with it.
Yeah.
So that's consistent to something that's flexible and moves. And anything that's flexible and moves that would move with the contour of the body is not going to leave marks that deep. Those are claw marks.
Yeah, and they didn't have any animals. I asked them that. I said, "You get scratched by a cat or something like that?" And they look way bigger than a cat.
I was going to say that's
like
a
big
cat.
claws.
That would be a big cat.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they're
your grandma
wide.
have a lion?
Yeah, like a mountain lion.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Especially because they're
pretty,
still that
pretty intense.
deep and red after a week.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that was a week
Oh,
after it happened. He was pretty scared.
Yeah.
You know, and I was like, "Well, we'll come in and help you and try to figure out what's going on." But the grandmother wasn't having it. She just wasn't having it.
Yeah.
I was like, "Well, it's a shame."
Here's
because
the
serious
the other thing I
phenomena going on.
noticed. Oh, sorry. The other thing I noticed is because I had that happen on my arm. But if you notice, the scratches don't just have the scratch line. You see that reddening or burning, like especially that middle bottom one and the top left one. It's got that because I had that, and it had the scratch or the welt where it was dug into the skin. But there's like a burning that happens to the skin around it as well, and you can clearly see that there. Even at, a week after you said?
Yeah, man.
Yeah. It was about 7 days after it happened. Now.
Yeah, and the burn's always more prevalent where it starts rather than where it ends.
Right. And Tony brings up a very good point. If this was like regular cuts, there would be scar tissue in the center of those. There's no scar tissue.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's almost like pressured scratches, you know, like someone really applying a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
Which brings up this one.
Yeah, that's hand.
Yeah, that's a really cool clip. Yep, that's a handprint. That was a case we did in New Bloomfield. This boy was waking up to another dark figure in the room, and he got grabbed by it. One day he was trying to exit out of his bedroom, and he got grabbed by this. He didn't see it, but he was seeing the figure in the room almost on a daily basis at night. And they said, went to go out the room, and they grabbed him and left these fingerprints on his arm. And I was like, wow. And a lot of stuff that we were experiencing at home, EVP wise and stuff like that, there was definitely something there for sure. 100%.
That's a big print.
Yeah, that's the burn effect.
Yes. Very much so.
And now this kid, he's, you know, that was back in 2013. He's a grown man now, and I've talked to him recently within the last 3 months, and he's like a paranormal victim from this, and he's afraid to sleep with the lights off, and a TV always has to be on, or you know, he can't be alone in the dark. He's afraid. He's in his 20s now. Yeah, it totally traumatized him. He's like a paranormal victim now.
Well, I want to point out something on this one too. So, if you look, so a lot of people go, maybe the kid grabbed his own arm, but the fingers are opposite. So if you look at your hand, okay, so your index finger is shorter than your middle finger, and then your ring finger is almost the same length. So if he would have reached over and grabbed his arm, these fingerprints would be opposite.
It'd be reversed.
It would be
good
reversed.
point.
Yeah.
Great point, Chris. Great.
Wow.
So the top one is actually the ring finger, the center one is the middle finger, and the opposite one
is index.
Is the index. And if you look really close, it looks like the tip of a thumb next to the index too, which would be opposite if the kid grabbed his own arm.
It'd be impossible for him to do it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, and if he did his own arm, and squeezed it to the point where he had red marks, those red marks would dissipate in a matter of seconds.
That's true.
Any harder than that would have been a bruise that wouldn't showed up for days, and it wouldn't have showed up in a red fashion. It would have showed up in a dark yellow or blue or purple.
That's right. Black and blue or whatever. How long ago did that happen when the picture, did he take that picture right away?
No, this was, we took that picture maybe a week and a half afterwards, I think.
That's those wouldn't be there. They would not be there.
Not if it was a casual
No.
press.
Yeah.
No.
They would have been gone.
To verify what Tony said, it's a burning mark, because if this was a residual of a bruise, it would be yellowing right now as it goes yellows and dissipates. This is not a bruise.
Yeah.
This is like a reverse, like something grabbed a hold of him. That's freaking nuts.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
What-
I mean, you can
what's
see
the-
the detail in the fingers, the crease in them, and everything. It's
Yeah.
pretty
You can
amazing.
almost
Yeah,
see
no, absolutely can. What's the theory, I guess, on, because everything you're saying, both of you, all of you, about the burning and the longevity of it and the characteristics of it, and is that, do we think, because of if it's something that's of a higher vibration, where maybe there's a heat signature to it, that's possibly what's causing some kind of an indelible mark that would stay like that longer, because that's where the burn is coming from?
I can give a theory on that, but like my dad being a physicist, when I started getting in all of this, we were talking about, getting punched or slapped or pushed. And one of his first questions to me were, there's no hand. Where does the push come from? There's no hand. And my answer was, well, because it's energy. That energy, we lost him. That energy is just manipulated to whatever force or whatever means they need it to react to. In the point of making a scratch, don't know how that energy is manipulated, but could that energy be increased to a degree that it could burn the skin as well as scratch it? My guess is yes.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just thinking, if we're talking, higher vibration, the way, water turns to steam, steam turns to plasma, right? When it gets hotter, if this is something that's piercing the veil or however it's coming through, because at some level, this is clearly not within the constraints of accepted physics. I mean, you can explain some of it probably because it's in concert with physics to a degree in our realm, right? Because it's making its mark. But how it's getting here, or the nature of it, or the source is where the anomaly is.
Correct.
So if Simonelli's in the comments, I'd really like him to jump in on this because he's an electrician. But to me, that looks like a low voltage energy burn. It's very similar to a low voltage energy burn. It doesn't sink deep. It's usually surface related, and it sticks around for a while. But it's a low voltage energy burn is just the surface of the skin. It almost like a tattoo. It's not deep enough to be permanent, but it's deep enough to last a while. But usually a low voltage energy burn almost look like a little lightning bolt on your arm or on your hand, wherever it shocked you. So if Anthony, if you're watching, I'd like to get your take on that one, because that's kind of what it resembles to me. It almost looks like a low voltage energy burn, but through fingers.
Almost like sunburn, like a little sunburn fingerprints or something, And I've been scratched in cases, not a whole lot, but twice. And one I got scratched from here down to here, and it was just one scratch that went from here to here. But we were having all kinds of weird things going on, all kinds of phenomena happening, and it actually made my face bleed. And I didn't know that I was even bleeding at first. And my co-founder Don was like, "Dude, your face is bleeding." I'm like, "What?" And when I went like this, I'm like, "Man, it's bleeding." And I was like, "What the hell am I bleeding from?" And I'm a construction worker. I don't have any nails, and I bite them. But so I'm like, "Where the hell did that scratch come from?" And it stayed on my face for like a month. Like it wouldn't go away. Yeah. And I'm like, what the hell was it? And it would burn really bad afterwards too. And it was really weird.
That was my question. Did you feel the burning after they pointed out to you that it was there?
Yep.
Is that when the burning began?
Yep. I didn't even know what happened until afterwards. And I'm like, dude, it is burning like shit now. I mean, it is like really burning. I had to go put ice on it. It was burning so bad. I'm like, this is crazy.
I had blood dripping down my arm. Didn't even know it happened. And Cherie said, "Oh my God, you're bleeding." Yeah,
it started with 3 puncture first, and then it's dragging
down my arm.
His arm.
But I didn't even know what happened. I didn't feel a thing. But after they pointed it out and I cleaned it up, the burning lasted for hours.
Yeah. It was, yeah, it lasted, I don't know, 2-3 hours of burning at least. Yeah. At least 2 or 3 hours.
Yeah. Anthony says it looks like electric.
Yeah. That's the part that's fascinating to me about it is the origin and the interaction of whatever it is caused the burn. What Tony spoke to is a really, really good explanation for the fact that it resembles a hand, because of the shape in which the print is made is a mystery, and that's an anomaly in and of itself. The nature of the fact that it's got that burn look and the fact that it lasts that long was what was I was questioning was, do we know or have, I guess, a commonly held theory of how something like that would come through, because it's vibrational, and could it be a heat driven or perhaps, like you said, electrical driven marking? But what Tony said had my wheels turned in the other direction. I'm like, yeah, it does. They made it look like a hand. I mean, it's a hand. So is that something that has some kind of state that we would consider matter in another realm, but when it comes through to here, it's not visible, it's not tangible, but somehow that's crazy.
Well, and those are the variables that we don't know. But even the scratches, there are no talons, there are no nails. You know, you're dealing with what? Energy, frequency, vibration, whatever the elements that are here that are on the other side, those are being manipulated to mimic fingers, hands, nails, whatever. And we don't know those variables. But the fact that any of those wounds always look like burns tells me it's some sort of energy interaction that's releasing heat into the equation to make that happen, which shows on the skin.
Yeah. It's fascinating too, because doesn't it in some way kind of correlate to how, and Radove talked about this, how radio frequencies and signals are interacting with our body all the time, but our sensory input does not register those. So this thing scratched your arm, right? You had blood dripping down your arm, but until you were consciously aware where the conscious excitations that you're paying attention to, that you're filtered to, until those things brought your attention to it, you didn't even know that something interacted with you enough to even do that. That's fascinating as crap to me. That's crazy.
Right.
Yeah. Yep.
Someone in the audience asked if he was did he go to get any medical treatment for it, or he just left
JD
it alone?
Sword, good question.
The young man.
No, he didn't get any medical treatment. No, but he did feel a burning sensation afterwards. Same thing.
Yeah.
Same as we've all felt.
Mm-hmm.
It's, I don't know, you know, these things, these entities, these spirits, whatever they are, you know, we all know that they can manipulate and harness energy. So, you know, is this energy getting hot enough to make these marks and these scratches and these burns and things? You know, I think they most definitely are, without a doubt.
Well, and coming from somebody that's been in the burn unit, and if it's something like that, the only time that they would even consider medically treating something like that is if it broke the surface of the skin, and the reason they medically treat it is to prevent infection.
Right, and that didn't. Yeah,
this had no surface burns, it had no blisters, there was no breakage of the skin, so there's really no reason to treat it. Mm-hmm. Maybe put some aloe vera on it to make it feel better, like a sunburn, but there's no reason to go to a medical facility to get it treated, because there's no chance of infection, because there was no the skin surface wasn't broken.
That's the high peak element of paranormality in that is the fact that it did not register on any sensory input whatsoever while it made what was a physical mark until your conscious attention, until your egoic experience was focused on the fact that something did something. You didn't even know it happened. That's crazy. That speaks to the anomaly with that whole thing. That's nuts.
Well, the part of your body that registers the pain is the nerves and the nerve endings. That's why if, like, for instance, if you take a dull knife and cut yourself, it hurts like hell. But if you take, like, I've been in the window business for 30 years. If you get cut with a super sharp piece of glass, it fillets it. And you don't, at first you look down and your skin is white until that blood starts moving and touches those nerve endings. You don't feel the pain. At first you don't feel it.
Yeah.
When blood starts coming, it hurts like a son of a bitch.
Yeah. I'm in the glass industry, and I've been cut like really bad on my hand, like right here. I mean, they cut all the way down with a mirror, and I didn't even know I was cut. Yep. Actually, I'm looking around, I see blood. I'm like, "Hey, man, who's bleeding?" And they're like, "I don't know."
It's you.
I'm like, "Oh shit, it's me."
Been there 1,000 times.
Yeah, I pull my glove off.
It happened to me too.
But you know, that also could be, though. I mean, I agree with everything you just said about dull versus super sharp, because you can you can slice right through without even realizing what you did. But you also got to wonder though, because you're not expecting, like in John's case of being scratched across the face or mine on the arm, I wasn't doing anything where I would have ever. I mean, I was standing next to a table. I wasn't even sitting at it. My arms were nowhere near it. That could be influenced.
What are you holding?
I had a beer in my hand.
No.
Here, hold my beer.
Yeah, but they wanted that beer.
But I had them. But you also got to wonder if it's not because I wasn't doing anything where I was expecting to get hurt, that my actual body blocked those sensations because there was no concern of anything like that happening, yet it did. And maybe that's some blockage of not expecting it and having it happen, and then not until I knew.
Yeah,
that's when I realized, oh wait, that hurts.
I totally agree. That's what in consciousness studies it's called filter hypothesis. You're not dialed into that, so you're not doing anything to expect it. It's not registering on your sensory whatsoever until somebody tells you. Right. Now, even with the blunt and sharp thing, like you were saying, but like his face was scratched, your arm was scratched. At no point did you feel anything. You experienced it once somebody told you it was there, and it wasn't imagined because you saw it and there was blood from it. But if something was able to do that without getting your attention until somebody pointed it out,
or anybody I was standing in front of. Yeah, there were 3 other people at the table. I just happened to be standing and I was a couple feet away. And all of a sudden She's like, oh my God, you're bleeding. But I hadn't moved. I hadn't gone anywhere.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, that speaks to something much, much grander than...
Well, we also talk when we're doing investigating intent. Maybe everybody sees these scratches, everybody sees these marks, everybody sees the blood, and it's like, how the hell did that happen? And we all immediately go to the intent where it's trying to harm me. Maybe it's the way they're trying to communicate.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I never thought one time that was going to hurt me. I never popped in my head that was meant to hurt me, just to get my attention. And that's, some people say that's demonic. A lot of things that happen, the 3 knocks and the 3, I just think that's all kind of TV genre. But, I think maybe this is the only way these things are able to communicate is by scratching you or pushing you. Not all of it's demonic. You know what I mean?
Right. Agreed.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. So let's go to the next one. This next clip, John, is the swing set.
This is cool.
So here we go.
Minutes.
Wow. That's fascinating.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I had that happen once. I was like 20 and was in New York City walking through a park or in front of a park, and there was swings, like 4 of them, and there was one swinging just like that. And we just kept looking at it, waiting, because we didn't know if maybe somebody went and pushed it, right? So we just waited for it to stop moving, and it never stopped. It just kept swinging and swinging. That one. That's crazy. That's great.
Yeah, it didn't lose
awesome. No momentum.
She was saying it didn't lose any momentum. It's funny because in our docuseries, I talked about frequency and oscillation and amplification, and that's one of the examples I gave is when you push a kid on a swing, that when you amplify or boost the strength and the distance of their swing, the oscillation is you match the speed that it's moving. If you come in faster or slower, you interrupt it and you stagger it. You don't build and amplify. something kept that thing going at the same pace that wasn't affecting any of the other swings, but somehow it had an inertia that did not dissipate, and it kept going back and forth. That's really fascinating.
Yeah, what's interesting about that video too, if you really watch it, it swings up and then it stops and then swings up, and it doesn't make the whole motion. It goes down, stops, down, stops. It doesn't follow all the way through if you're watching the video. And people were asking about if that was an EVP. Now, that was the son of the daughter that was son of the woman that owns the place.
You watch the video, somebody's filming from inside a house, so the voice you hear is...
Yeah, that's the homeowner. Yeah, she's filming it. We were just getting ready to go there, and she filmed this for over 5 minutes. That's just a short clip of it, but it was over 5 minutes long of that swing, and there was no wind blowing at all.
And it would if someone would have stopped it. If someone would have pushed it, it would have stopped it within a minute or two. Like it wouldn't have kept going for freaking 5 minutes.
I'd like to see it again based on what John said, because I'm going to be honest, I didn't notice that it truncated the movement, that it didn't go all the way back.
It doesn't.
From
It
that
doesn't
angle.
follow through. It doesn't follow
No,
through. It stops
it's like
when it gets.
it's like if you're doing it, but you're not really committed to the swing. Because I've done it.
Yep.
It's like you go and then you kind of stop it with your foot, and then you go again, and you kind of stop it with your foot. That's kind of like what it looks like.
Well, what's really significant about the video, if it was wind, the bigger one would have been moving because it was more of the draft.
Yeah, there's more surface area for the wind to have caught.
Right.
If it was wind, right?
Yeah.
And everybody's gone on a swing here before, right?
Oh, yeah.
If you pay really close attention, if you kick with your strong leg, what did the swing do?
Yeah.
Yeah, it does do that.
It would move to the strong side, right? Watch
would
that
twist,
swing
right.
really close. It looks like somebody's kicking and it turns.
Yeah, like if they're kind of
Let's see that
stopping
again.
foot.
Yeah, I want to see that again, because if it's truncating the movement and not actually oscillating full movement back and forth, then that's got.
I agree.
Then the inertia is restarting, and that's a whole other can of worms.
It's being stopped and restarted.
Yeah.
Which crazy that.
There's a lot of indicators.
Watch
in
it,
there. Here we go.
Yeah.
It's hard to tell on the angle at which it's being filmed, because you can't tell. You lose the forward length of how far it's going compared. You can tell a little more when it comes back because the angle of the camera, but the forward's harder to tell. So you could be right; it could be truncated, but it's difficult to tell whether it's doing its full swing or not.
That's what I thought, but you can see what Chris said, which I didn't notice the first time. It does seem to have a little bit of a turn to it when it goes forward.
I did see that. Yes.
Yep, I did see that.
That's way cool.
Jax, come here. Oh,
All right. So the next one we got, because I don't want to miss any of John's stuff, the Landon House Go. It's a good EVP. Here we go.
Did you want to try asking a couple questions?
Yeah. What is your name?
What the? Whoa! Did you hear that?
What?
You didn't hear that voice? Holy shit, that was loud.
What did it say?
I have no idea. I don't know what it said, but it answers you. It was a man's voice. The same one we heard before.
Oh, can you tell me your name again?
Yeah, I said go home. Yeah, I said go home.
Good.
Yep. It's like
That
go
was
home.
loud.
You hear everything in the moment.
That's loud.
He does. He hears everything in the moment. Don't whisper about him at an event. He'll hear it.
Yeah, I'm gonna hear it. If you're talking shit about me, I'm gonna hear it.
Talking shit about me, I'm going to hear it. I might agree with you on some of it.
Yeah.
Wow, that was good.
Yeah.
Was good. So this next one is the same location, and it's a loud voice. Can't really discern what it's saying, but it's pretty loud. So here we go.
Could you please join us here in this room? We just have a couple questions we'd like to ask you. If you would be so inclined to answer them.
What the
What
fuck?
What was that?
You heard that too?
Yeah.
What was that, dude? That was very loud.
Was that you?
He heard it again.
Yeah,
He heard it again.
He did. And it had the same tonality as the first one, too. So I wonder if it was the same spirit talking.
Yeah, it was literally in the same room. That one sounded like it was out in the hallway. The other one sounded like the go home sound was right in the room with us, like in between us. I was like, whoa. I was like, I couldn't make out what it said at first until I got it home and put it on the computer. And I'm like, oh, well, it says go home. It's like, go home.
Yeah.
Okay, play it again. Sure, we'll hear it again. Why not? Okay, yes, please.
All right, here we go.
Could you please join us here in this room? We just have a couple questions we'd like to ask you. If you would be so inclined to answer them.
What the
What
fuck?
What was that?
You heard that too?
Yeah.
What was that, dude? That was very loud.
Was that you?
Yeah, it's hard to tell. It sounds like a woo. Like, that's what it sounds like to me.
Like, whoa, or something like
Yeah.
that. It's like it's trying to vocalize, you know.
Yeah. Maybe we say what?
It's gonna haunt you in your dreams tonight, Lordy.
Oh my God.
I
It's not
know.
in me. Because there was a point in time when my little one had a bad habit of going, what? And oh my God, it would drive me crazy when she would do that. She's better now. She does what now? But yeah.
If you go back on an amplified, it's probably going, what's that?
That's amazing. Are you using the live listening on that Tascam with the headphones?
Yeah. Yep.
See, I like that because when I first started, when I lived in LA, I remember being at the Glen Tavern Inn and somebody was using a recorder like that had live listening, and she heard stuff before we played it back, and I was like, "How did you hear that?" And then they showed us what it was, and because he hears everything, and that's really, really cool.
Do you sometimes hear it with your own ears without using the live listening?
No, I always use the live listening, yeah, because I can't hear out of the left ear. So I want to be able to hear everything in what's going on in the investigation. So if I hear something, I know there's really stuff going on, and I can discern between us and these voices. Like I know, like I've been doing it for so long. I've been doing that for 20 plus years of it wasn't called live EVP back then. That's how long I've been doing it. I kind of emulated it from the Warrens because I've seen Ed Warren walking around with the boom mic. And I just started, plugging into the recorder, just a basic recorder, and listening and picking up things. And I'm like, I said, I got this, man. I know how to do this shit now. Like, this is very, very cool. And I can hear these things.
Yeah. Before there were ghosts involved, it was called eavesdropping.
Yeah. Right.
But that's amazing. It's working for you. It's working.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Every investigation, I'm in tune with it now. Like, it's a part of what I do. And I can hear these things and I catch them,
Yeah. I can tell you it helps during an investigation too, because PPIT does the same thing. Everett this weekend was wearing the live listening headphones, and I kind of like it because if I pick up something, I'll turn and look at Everett and go, "Did you just hear it?" And there's been times where he said yes, and then other times there's not. But yeah, it does. It's pretty cool.
And you can do that with any recorder. It doesn't have to be a live EVP recorder. You can just plug into a regular recorder and listen. You just got to really focus on what you're listening to, and not be distracted by all these other things, and be focused on what you're listening to, and you'll hear it. You'll hear it.
So this next one is Strange Blob Followed Me. So this is the XLS, correct?
Yes, this is one of our members is the older XLS.
Okay. Here we go.
This is in the attic.
Here we go.
Oh shit! What is that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But watch you on the far wall. You see something coming down right now.
Oh,
like
yeah.
A head. Yeah.
Yep.
Like a head.
Yeah, look like a head, like coming out of the shadows, following down the stairs.
Hmm.
Yep.
Yes, I'll play that again.
Yes.
Yeah.
We can talk through this one, guys. Here we
Yeah.
go.
And there's a blob that comes out of the ceiling as well, which XLS doesn't pick up dust. And it's pretty big. But you see that coming out right about now.
There it
right
is.
there.
Look at that.
And it makes a right turn, a 90-degree turn. Now there's
Look
the
at
figure
that.
coming down. Bloop.
Oh, if you look really close, it looks like there's legs down towards the floor.
Yeah, it looks like a kid. Yep.
Yeah, let's watch that again. Watch down towards the floor below the head. It looks like it's walking.
Yep.
The one that follows him down the stairs.
And there's reports of kids in the house.
The legs are by where he's standing now after he leaves. That's where the legs are.
See how he goes down the stairs?
Yep.
Watch down there in between the purple and yellow thing. When the head goes by, it looks like there's legs moving at the bottom.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Wow.
Yeah. Yep.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And pretty interesting timing that he left.
And it followed
And then
her.
it happened. Yeah.
And it followed him down, right?
Mhm. That's pretty cool.
Right, so this one's a fun one. Master bedroom, I am the devil.
Clip.
Here we go.
So if they want to make
Heard
That was loud.
Wow.
Yeah, it was.
That was loud.
Yeah.
Good
I
catch.
know.
Yeah. Okay. Again, why not?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. That's a quick one. So here we go.
so if they want to make
Wow.
That's loud.
Pretty creepy.
Very clear.
Very clear.
Yeah.
Very
I've never captured that ever again anywhere else but in that place with that girl. Yeah.
Mm,
Yeah.
Wow.
interesting.
Almost like it was feeding off of her fear of the devil, because that's one thing she told me. She said she was very Catholic. She said, I'm so afraid this is the devil. And I'm not kidding you. Right after that, we captured that voice saying, I'm the devil. I'm like, what the shit? I'm like listening to that home. I got goosebumps. I was listening to it. I'm like, whoa, that's pretty cool. I was like,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
cool, but it was creepy at the same time.
Mhm.
It still is.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
it may not be the devil. I mean, not obviously, but since they know she has that fear,
Right.
and that's what I guess.
They're playing
Yeah.
off it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say, in the 20 odd years that I've been investigating, I've rarely come across a really true dark entity. Right? Rarely. I think maybe once or twice.
Nah, yeah.
I'm gonna tell you right now, they ain't gonna tell you what they are.
Yeah.
That's just something feeding off the fear. Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
What do I always say? Asshole in life, asshole in death. There you go. There's an example.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. The last piece of evidence we have is visual. This one's pretty damn cool. And this is one where John's camera actually catches it. Now the camera moves towards the motion. This is the one the last one you sent me, John.
Yeah. Yep.
All right, here we go.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's cool.
So
Yeah, that was an old a historic farmhouse actually. That was one of the colonels to General George Washington. So it had a lot of
Oh,
history
wow.
to it. Yeah, really cool kitchen. They see a spirit of like a servant down in that kitchen. And that door opened. I was totally surprised that we caught. I started going through the video, and I'm like, "Holy shit!" The door opens up on its
Yeah.
own. You know, I'm like, "Wow, very cool."
Yeah, and the most significant part about that, guys, if anybody was outside and pulled that door open, if you look down at the light at
You'd
the
have seen
bottom of
them.
the door, you would have seen their feet.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
I looked at that. Didn't see anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool.
And that door is super heavy too. It's about I don't know, 8-9 inches thick. Yeah, it's that thick. You know.
It looks heavy.
Yeah,
It
it's
looks
an old door.
Well, back then they would have used. I mean, it looked like what 2x10s they built that door out of.
Yeah, it was really, really heavy. It was like
What
reinforced with other wood too, like posts and
It's about
stuff.
4
It was
foot
weird.
wide, maybe just a little bit under 6 foot tall.
Yeah, yep. That was a very cool place, very active place. I was surprised.
And if those are the original hinges too, it takes a lot of force to pull that door. Besides the weight of the door, the hinges aren't going to be all that easy to maneuver either.
Yeah,
it takes a lot of force.
that's the first thing I noticed when it opened. I'm looking to see if somebody opened it. But what's is really cool, I was going to send that video too. Is I had another camera in the hallway facing that door, and there was nobody there. Yeah, I had another camera facing that door and one there, and I went into that camera at the same time, and there was nobody there. I'm like, very cool validation. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great validation.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it looked like it tracked something for a second because the camera moved, and then something triggered it to move.
Yep, those cameras are really cool. I got that information from Jason Halls when I did an investigation with them. We did Ghost Nation together, and I seen these same cameras, and I was like, I'm getting those cameras. Those cameras are cool as shit, and they're wireless, which is good, and you can use your phone. So if you're in an investigation and something tracks on that camera, it'll send you an alert on your phone that on that camera. You can go right into your phone and watch it right there. That's just cool.
So I got a question for you, John. So it captures the motion. Once it detects the motion and the motion stops, does it reset back to its original position?
Yes.
I was going to ask that.
Yep.
Okay.
That's what happened.
So it's not following something when it moves back. It's moving. It's resetting itself.
It's resetting itself. Yeah. So when the door opens, it cranks over to that motion and starts recording that motion. But what's really cool about these cameras is the audio is really shitty, right? It's really shitty audio. If you're real far away, like you heard the distant talking, you can't really hear much, conversation. But these cameras, the shitty recording system catches great EVPs. I have a bunch of them on those cameras. That the one you heard with the woman, turn the TV off. It catches these things real, and a lot of them we don't hear. And one in that case where it said turn the TV off, Tom was standing right there, and there was a woman said hi Tom, and he never heard it, but the camera caught it. The camera caught it. Yeah, they're very cool cameras.
Can you play it again, Chris? Go ahead. What?
Sorry.
No, it's okay, honey.
I was
Go ahead.
asking what kind of camera.
It's Wise cameras, the V2. If you get a chance to get in there, they're not expensive. They're like $40.
Really?
They're about $40. Yep. They're awesome. They take a little micro SD card.
You're at Weiss camera, did you say?
Wise, WYZE. Yep, Wise cameras.
Oh, okay. All right.
WYZ. Oh, okay. Got it.
And the V2. The V2 is the camera.
So, Chris, can you play it just one more time? Because there was someone saying they heard voices in the background, and someone was saying about a distortion they saw in the
Well, he mentioned he thought the voices were, but the distortion would be good to see.
Well, I didn't hear the voices. That's
Yeah, me either.
Yeah, let's go.
It was Todd and Carmel.
Yeah, well, no, there was someone else who said about the voices.
All right, here we go.
Yeah, I could hear the voices. So the voices, was that an anomaly, or was it you
No,
guys
that was us up on the second floor. Yep.
Okay. And I think the distortion that I saw, I think it was from the camera just
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It was from the camera refocusing when it locked onto the door moving. Yep.
That's exactly what I was going to say too.
Mhm.
Yep.
It's very clear too. The video is good on the camera.
That is.
Yeah, they're pretty awesome cameras, and they're lightweight. Stick them on a tripod. You can stick them on a table. They have a little round stand at the bottom, and they turn 180 degrees. So anything in that 180 degree view,
that's a
you'll be, yeah.
I may get some too, because that's pretty cool.
Yeah, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
See how Scott Reddick and Piedmont Paranormal drag their feet with these things? He's already buying them. He's wasting valuable seconds.
Well, I'm glad I could help other investigators out there, because that's what it's all about, is helping people and helping other investigators. And
Thank you for sharing, John.
Yeah.
Everybody coming together with the communication with this is key to understanding the phenomena, and I think it's a big thing for all of us. You guys, the Staticom, I mean, I think it's all great. You know what I mean? I think it's a big part of what needs to be done to understand this phenomenon.
Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, thank you. There's great evidence. But I definitely agree with you. It's going to take everyone to figure out what's happening. No one's going to do it on their own. And so combining knowledge, facts, captures, that's the only way to move it forward. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, in teaching everybody's different techniques helps all the researchers, investigators out there perfect what they're doing in the field too, which also gets rid of those skeptics, or what Ron likes to say, non-believers. It just, the more evidence that we can provide with the different techniques, that creates less doubt, helps us move forward in the paranormal community instead of backwards. Because if we didn't help each other get better, then the paranormal community as a whole doesn't continue to get better too. So that's why we promote paranormal big time. So.
Oh, definitely, I do as well. I definitely think we're starting to create leaps and bounds in this thing. With like the Staticom and stuff that we're doing, stuff that other paranormal groups are doing. I mean, if we get all this stuff together and start presenting this stuff to people, and people are going to realize, hey, this isn't TV, this isn't fake, this isn't this or that, this is real, this phenomenon is real, these people are experiencing it, we're recording it, we're testing it, we're doing these things to try to really validate the phenomenon, which is key, and to understanding it in all manners.
Yeah, we're not just fools with black t-shirts running around getting scared at everything and calling it the demon. That's not what it's all about, folks. It's not.
No, it's not demons. I've been in this for 26 years and I've never seen a demon. So that's I've never seen one. Not to say that they don't exist. I've never experienced that phenomena ever. Never.
Yeah.
So this is not a movie. This is real life. You know what I mean?
All right, John, we have reached the point in the show that we call shameless plugs. Tell everybody where they can find you, what you got coming up, what you got going on, where they can buy your shirts, where they can send you money, anything you want.
Yeah, you can send me a couple $1 million. That'll be good.
Share it with us.
Yeah, we can all do this for a living and get paid.
In that case, his email address is lourdes.gonzalez.
Yeah.
Black that out. No way. But you can reach me at my website is www.harrisburgareaparanormal.com. I'm on Facebook. It's just John Curley, and I have the Harrisburg Area Paranormal Society Facebook page, and I have a podcast as well called the Paranormal Journal Podcast. That's on StreamYard now, YouTube, Facebook. I'll be putting it out on other platforms like Spotify, iTunes soon. I just started on StreamYard, so I'll be playing all that kind of good stuff there, and you'll hear actual testimony from some of our clients and paranormal victims, and hearing their stories as well. Some of these frightening stories, and they're all true stories. They're not some bullshit. This is real stuff, and this is what we do.
And you know what? That must be very healing for some of your guests, because they're able to speak about it. If they're willing to speak about it, they want to speak about it, and that's healing for them. Right. So that's good. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, definitely.
And
cool.
John, and we're not that far away, so let's plan something.
Yeah. I mean, we're doing the Hell House Paracon September 9th, and actually just acquired a whole town of haunted places. So, and it's all part of the Revolutionary War, Brandywine Battle. So this is going to be interesting. We just got approved in the township to start investigating some of these historic locations, and
cool.
yeah, we can't wait to get into them and start
Yeah,
really getting
that
into it.
sounds exciting.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
You haven't investigated until you've been on location with HAPS wearing headphones, dropping F-bombs because they hear everything.
Sorry, folks. It's just the nature of the beast.
So let's set something up, because I am down.
Yeah, man. I tell you, we could do that private residence, man, with the water running through the house, man. Place is really active, man. Really active. And we can test out the Staticom there. I bet you can get some amazing stuff out of this place.
Speak of the devil, before we end the show tonight, there's one thing I want to play for y'all. All right, here we go.
My name is Tracy. Can you tell me your name?
Something new that I haven't seen ever in the paranormal one. There's nothing about this on TV or anything, so I figure let's give it a shot.
Ma, if you're here, if you have Cookie with you, can Cookie box for me?
I couldn't get radio reception or cell phone reception. There's literally no signal being broadcast from the tower that gets into this part of the earth.
Bachi.
That was clear.
Did I just hear Ron Yacovetti?
And you say Edgewater if you know who I am? I heard it. Thank you, Chris.
Yes,
Awesome.
thank you.
Awesome. I love it.
Got to support the people in the paranormal community, especially the ones you love. So
awesome, man. I love it.
Right back at you. We appreciate it.
Right back at you.
And we thank you, John, for
Thank you,
being
John,
our
for
guest
coming on.
tonight and presenting amazing evidence. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, everything
Good
was
stuff.
everything was top shelf, man.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Yeah, awesome.
Thanks
Just
for,
awesome
thanks for
evidence.
having me.
But there is one thing
Thanks
I
for having
saw
me. I
that
love being on there.
there is one thing I saw I wanted to point out. Roger, all 3 episodes came out on the 19th. They're all available. You can, if you've been waiting for part 2 to come out, it's there. All 3 are there.
Awesome. Get it.
Guys, this will not be the last time we have John on the show with the amazing evidence that him and his team captures. I guarantee you, John will be back again.
Yes.
And
thank you, guys. Thank you. I appreciate it. I enjoy being on the show with you people. It's great. I love all of you. You're doing a good thing.
Appreciate it. So are you, John.
Doing a good thing.
Yep.
And Ron will definitely hook up with you, man. We're going to go to that Klingerstown farmhouse, and we're going to catch some good stuff, buddy. I can guarantee it.
Yeah, let's go over some calendar stuff for sure. We'd love to come out. You're not that far from us, and man, you do some good stuff, man. That's really cool. Everything you presented tonight sparked a discussion. Everything. We didn't just move past anything.
Well, we're all not far apart. Maybe we can plan where we can all get together soon. Very soon.
Yeah, definitely.
Let's
Gotta
do
be.
it. Yeah. Let's do it. I'd love
Thanks,
it.
Todd.
Oh, that's very kind.
Todd and Carmel, good people too. This is the people we hope to bring into events, shows, everything. We've worked with them in the field, so they're great people. Very nice.
Awesome.
All right, guys. Thanks for coming out. Just to give you guys a heads up, Labor Day weekend's next weekend, so we won't be here, but we will be back the following Monday with a great group of people and a great guest again with some great evidence to show you guys. We appreciate y'all coming out. We love you all. Thank you so much for always watching every week. Same people always join in. Fantastic people. New people always come on. John brought some new ones on tonight. Don't be afraid to tune in every Monday, except next Monday, because we won't be here. And we thank you guys for coming out one more time. And remember, guys, you're not truly investigating if you don't say what the fuck. And you're not truly investigating if you don't stay haunted. Have a good night, guys.
Yeah. Christoph.
Everybody.
Can you give me a name? What's your name?